This is the Dog Savant Podcast with your host, Brett Endies.
Hey everybody, this is Brett Endies and this is the Dog Savant Podcast. We are on episode 30. We're going to do one last one here before the new year. I'm going to record it. It should come out the week after next. But as I promised, I wanted to put one out there every week for you. I wanted to be able to share all the information that I've accumulated after 20 plus years training dogs, helping owners reconnect with them, solve their behavioral issues. And this stuff works, so I want to share it with you. So why do I have a background that looks different than normally? Well, when you usually see a different background or I'm in the car, it means Jordan is away. Jordan is my production guy. He does an amazing job on these videos. If you're listening on the iTunes version or an audio version of this podcast, I would highly recommend go to the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/dogtrainingla. And you will see, not so much this because I'm just doing an iPhone version today, but you'll see some of the videos. He's so good at what he does. He so good at streamlining, and he edits, and just the quality. He has such good equipment, and I really value him. And I just like working with him. But of course, can't always rely on him every week, but I want to be able to have you guys rely on me. So let me get it out there. And what I need to do is rely on you guys to help me spread the word of this podcast. So, like and subscribe on iTunes. Do the same on my YouTube channel. Share with your friends. Like and, share on social media when I post it. This only helps dog owners. The information, like I said, is very valid. It's proven the work over many years of sharing this in the real world, and I want to start creating more of these platforms so that I can get the information out. Despite the naysayers, this really works, and everything that I have to say against the naysayers is my real world experiences once again, dealing with so many dogs that are not trained properly, or the type of relationship they have with their owners is contributing to the reason why they have these behavioral issues in the first place. So do that for me. I really appreciate you guys. And anyone listening here, keep doing it. We're going to keep giving you good information. Like I had said, we're going to try to get more guests. This episode is going to be based on the New Year's. I'm going to do some Q&A. And just really, let's get motivated for 2019. Let's really, do this for ourselves, for our dogs. I don't want to be, I told him my little get out there with your dog videos. I'm not a personal trainer, guru, fitness guy by any means, right? But I do understand what it takes to get the job done as far as getting your life taken care of, not making your problems other people's. And this is 100% related and reflective of how you should operate and expect things from your dogs. Operate around expecting something with your dogs to get them to have such a fulfilled, satisfied life based on what their individual needs are. And that's what we work on, is creating a plan to create all the right elements, being contributed to, so that your dog doesn't have these problem behaviors showing themselves as symptoms of an unfulfilled life in a dog. Just like a lot of people with anxieties, depressions, acting out, focusing too much on what other people are doing, same thing. They're not looking within, they're not improving their life, they're not growing, they're not maximizing their potential either. And I'm hardly someone who's gotten to that point, but every day I try to wake up being a better person, improving myself mentally, physically, career-wise, family-wise, the right kind of relationships and all that. So let's do the same. It's only going to make you a better dog owner and a better person, and you're going to feel better. It just is a more fruitful life to live. Okay, so with that little Tony Robbins moment, let's move on. Oh, and I always forget this. Aside from asking you to please, contribute to the podcast, share, go on all my social media and do all that stuff. I have a sponsor, WildZorafoods.com, WildZora with a Z, foods.com. And if you enter the code when you check out, the Dog Savant, THEDOGSAVANT, you will receive 20% off your first order. Really good, healthy, paleo-friendly meals, snacks. They have drinks. They have all types of new soups now. And I use it when I backpack. I also keep a few in my car. I love it that I can just add some hot water, let it sit there for 5-10 minutes, and I've got a great healthy meal that's not got preservatives and fillers and grains and all that shit that doesn't make you feel good about yourself, and it definitely doesn't keep you alive for a long time. Okay, how's that for a plug? So anyway, WildZorafoods.com. And if you're a sponsor, I'd love more of you. Any product that I use, it could be dog related or not, something that I believe in, I think would be awesome that I can, share with people here on the podcast. So it's got to be something I believe in and I would use myself, or it's just not worth it to me. Okay, New Year's. Okay, so we got 2019 coming here in a couple days. Everyone's got their resolutions. Everyone's going to wait till they wake up on the 1st and they're going to start writing it down. The gyms get I guess it's an onslaught of memberships. You'll see it, the hiking trails, everybody's motivated. Give it about 2 to 4 weeks and see the same exact places on the same type of day, and let's see the attrition rate, right? Because you don't want to rely on a date to get your life started. It should be every day. That's why when I start writing my 2019 goals, I do that well in advance. I did that last week, and the reason why is I want to already be moving on them, so I've got the momentum so that I don't peter out. I keep this going. And what's my goals? To do better than I did last year, to improve certain elements of my life that I'm working on and not sit stagnant. And it doesn't mean that I have to be rich and wealthy and popular and famous. It has nothing to do with it. It's for myself and for those around me to deal with the best version of myself that I can create. Because look, I'm an ADD kind of guy. I relate to even how these dogs are operating, where you get highly reactive to everyday stimuli, distracted, overwhelmed, overstimulated, and it can cause anxieties and even reactions, right? Even if you're in a car and you're really amped up driving, just in that one moment, something quick happens, you get a road rage type response. You get frustrated, a visceral. What do you think leash reactivity is? Dogs are walking around in a heightened state of alert. Here comes a dog that's too much information to process at once. Boom, reactivity is a coping mechanism to deal with it out of a helpless state that you feel that you're being put in. For dogs, it's even more of a primal fight or flight survival state, but it's no different than us. And some people maybe are more wired to go with the flow, but I still think you have potentials that you should meet versus a guy like me that can spin 20 plates at once. And although it creates a little extra anxiety, it's also the only way I can operate. I get very easily bored, very easily agitated, and just kind of not knowing what to do, right? So that's how we have to operate. But it also makes me get things accomplished. And as I get older, the more that I push myself, the better I feel physically, mentally, and just as a human satisfied. As a man satisfied, right? I know it's a taboo thing to say, but men have certain needs that have to get accommodated, and it's not by sitting on the couch or fighting your political battles when you have nothing. You're an accountant for a living, right? Be the best accountant you can be, and when you're done accounting, be the best family member, or husband, or wife, or spouse, or be physically fit. All of that, it's all contributing to a fruitful life. All right. Get off the personal training thing, Brett. All right, so 2019, I'm going to talk about some of my goals, right? Because I'm not one to tell you how to live. You do it for yourself, right? If you're a client of mine and we sit down and we talk about some goals for your dog training, I think I can have enough insight to do that. But here, as a guy who doesn't know you, who's watching or listening, I think you can take little pieces of how I'm living and maybe it apply to your unique situation. So for me, okay, so I'm a 44-year-old man. I'm not getting any younger. I realized that very recently that although I've dabbled in being healthy and vegan-y and meat-eaty and whatever it is, I've been conscious of my health. I've been conscious of exercise and physical fitness, but I really want to ramp it up this year. I don't need to be Mr. A Captain America, but I definitely want to feel good. I want to feel stronger year to year, not weaker, because I saw that starting to happen when I hit my late 30s, and I just, there's no option. I have a child that I want to be healthy and alive and active and conscious for. I have family members, activities I love to get involved in. You've heard me talk a lot about hunting. I love it. I'm planning an elk hunt next week, and next season, and that really requires a high level of physical fitness if you want to do it right. You got to be strong, you've got to have the endurance, and you've got to be mentally strong, okay? So these are things I work on. That's why you see me do these silly get out there with your dog videos where I'm hiking and carrying a heavy pack and doing these things. It's all just to show you that, hey, if I can do it, and I'm kind of jump-starting myself a little more now in my, in my midlife crisis, if you will, anyone can do it. It's only going to help me each day. I feel better. I almost feel terrible now when I don't do these things because eating healthy isn't enough. You have to stay strong. This is for life. This is for you to be a good person, to be active, to be present for your clients if you're another dog trainer. Let me see. So that's a goal for 2019. I'm going to go so on tangent. Sorry, guys, my ADD. I want you to observe this too, right? To see, because I'm aware enough, and I don't have a big enough ego where I'm not willing to present this. Like, hey, look, I'm aware when I get a little ADD, and you got to rein yourself in. And that's kind of what we have to do for others who can't be as aware, like your animals or your children, to help them develop these skills so as they get older, they can navigate the world. Because I have a message I want to present to you, right? But I have to be able to articulate in a way that makes sense to you. So organizing my thoughts, I've learned that when I don't, people kind of like glaze over. Like, well, even when I was a young dog trainer, I used to kind of go off on tangents, not realizing like these people, they can't keep up with me. And they're, but whoa, this guy just took a turn. Where the hell is he going? It's abstract enough what he's telling me about my dogs thinking differently than me. So you have to be able to rein yourself in, and that's another goal. So let's go to that. That's a huge goal. That's what I'm talking about, is I'd like to be able to have more of that ability to stay reined in instead of kind of getting a little off into Pluto and then catching myself, which I keep getting better, but I want to be just better when it comes time to articulate my thoughts, to present my message to my clients in a more succinct way, to give them clearer information, more, to help them apply this when I'm not there pointing little things out, right? Because sometimes it can be overwhelming when you're learning how to relate to your dog totally differently and applying things training-wise in your daily relationship, where usually is letting your dog live alongside you without much more regard than just, petting them, feeding them, walking them, and that was good enough. But dogs that need training, they need a lot more from you. They need that awareness and that implementation of certain communication that is different than we would if our dogs just kind of get a free pass in life, which certain dogs cannot handle if we're here now trying to talk about their problem behaviors and addressing them, and their training goals. So that, my ADD, gonna work on that, gonna get a little more focused and get my message clearer, just to keep being as succinct as possible, as helping people, even for this podcast, understand their dogs and apply it as efficiently as possible. Okay, so let's see. Oh, book. Okay, many of you have heard also that I wrote a book, or I started writing a book, probably like 9-10 years now, and I got a book deal. I got an advance, the whole dream. It was by Dog Fancy's publishing division. As a young dog trainer, holy cow, this is it, my dream, right? I can't write worth a shit, right? I'm pretty good at focusing, even though I can work on it like when I'm doing my job with my clients and staying on track, but it's almost coming organically out of me when I'm in a situation or I'm in front of a camera and I'm kind of focused on what I'm going to talk about. But boy, a book to have an A to Z information of all of this that's in your head that you've been applying year after year, that's a challenge, and I'm going to get it done this year. That's another function of the ADD. I'm going to have someone help me. I'm also going to create an online program based on this book. There's going to be a complement to it, and I'm also going to do some workshops. So it's going to be this kind of way that we're going to create that. I don't want to call it a system, because there's no such thing as a system in nature. It just is how it is. But a way that you can apply this to help your dogs live a more fruitful life, to meet their potential, to resolve their behavioral problems. And I want to be thorough. I want to cover this. We're going to try to get where there's going to be video modules and information and all of this, not just on our online version, but also connected to the book and any kind of workshop seminars that I plan on doing. So that's another huge goal that I have for me. I haven't written down, but it's on my phone and I have to record my phone. So I'm trying to kind of do it from memory here, but that's another one. I got to get this book. I got to get these other platforms going. Why? Because there's a lot of information I've accumulated, and I keep saying, look, I'm not making this up. It works. I pay my bills by doing this year after year, and they keep asking me to come back, right? And they're all happy. They all are saying, boy, this is working versus other training, versus what I did, versus them telling me my dog is going to have to get put to sleep or has to live with these issues, or medicate my dog to deal with it. So I'm pretty confident in sharing it, right? It's not like a lot of the people out there who are online dog trainers who really haven't touched a leash for money, as far as getting paid by a real human to help them with their dogs. And they're the ones who sort of are naysayers in this confident way that some dog trainers are just matter-of-factly saying this, because the ones who are tend to be getting the job done, and they're doing nothing but what's humane for dogs. Owners might not like hearing the truth. Purely positive people don't like hearing the truth. That's how they exist in their own psychology. But rational, balanced, emotionally stable dog trainers who are experienced somewhat see what's going on and can promote a pretty good message. That's why I say anyone who's giving you a reasonable good message, even if it's a little different tools, different techniques, but it's a similar, rational kind of dogs are dogs, people are people. They thrive on structure, rules, direction, address the behaviors, don't dance around it and wait for it to stop to reward it, which is insanity. These people are the ones you should be listening to, right? So share. That's why I want any information that helps dogs is good. There's only one Brett, and there's a lot of other people sharing a version of this kind of information that can help you equally or even better if you can hear what they're saying better than what I'm saying, because I'm one person giving this kind of version of how dogs see it as a human, which many people can create their own, but it's still a true, pure version of it. Okay, let's see. So that's another one. And also another one I wrote down. I showed my daughter. She was a little embarrassed. I want to be the best dad I can be. I'm being quiet. She's in the other room. I want to be the best boyfriend. I have a girlfriend. I want to be the best boyfriend I can be. I really care about her, and I want to show her that there's people in the world that really can be 100% there for you, right? Without other things getting in the way, which tends to fuck up relationships. So, I hope you don't hear this. It's embarrassing. But anyway, yes, just to all my family, my brother, everyone, best dog trainer I could be. To my clients, I want to be, I think I do pretty good. I'm there for them, but I want to do even better. You can always improve. Like I said, my fitness level I want to increase. As far as my hunting goals, a lot of you know that I'm a hunter. I've been into archery for a while, off and on, more when I was younger, but I've gone both feet in the past year, becoming more of a hunter as well. Been doing some archery wild boar hunts, and I want to go out of state, do a big like 2-week kind of elk hunt, like a real backcountry. I've always been a backpacker, but now combining it with that just is like a dream. I'm applying for some tags, so that's another goal, just getting out there. That's a little bit of a time, financial, and kind of risk commitment, because then I'm gonna have to take aside time in the fall, which would be awesome. But anyway, that's something I want to plan. Let me think. God, I had a whole list because I divide. Look, if you want to write goals, don't just jot this on a piece of toilet paper. You need to break this down, create an outline based on personal, relational, business, physical, logistical. I have goals for my house that I want to do. Right? We have it for sale, but if I don't sell it in the timeline that I want, I might just stay here and then do some improvements to it. I want to get a fence. I want to get a podcast studio built downstairs. I have a whole space downstairs that we started finishing that it would be awesome. But I want to build a podcast. That's another goal. A lot of my online goals are not just to create these platforms in the book, but to get more people to follow on social media. I don't have the greatest following in that. It's never been my strong suit. I just put information out there, or whims, or little cute pictures of my life that I like to share. More of that. Just even to just build more clients, more quality clients, so people who work with me are on board from day one. That's why I'm going to work with this guy, John, who's developed websites for some very popular hunters, the Instagram hunter type people. And he is a solid guy. He's going to finally help me get my message as clear as possible so we can pinpoint exactly the type of dog owners that are going to work best with me, so I can get them the best kind of help as possible. Because look, any dog can be helped. We all know training the owner's end of the leash is a huge part of it. Otherwise, the dogs at the best might listen to the trainer when they're around. So I want to work on that high quality of client. I don't care what the dog, I want to help as many dogs, but I want that client end of the leash. I want to work with more people that I can, train some rescue, some basic rudimentary, techniques just to help get some dogs better at like walking skills, or curb some of the reactivity, or some basic potty training skills, so that they can get these dogs better rehab and get them out into families and then pass that information on to them. So there's a lot that I want to do. Some things are a little kind of like just, but I did write it down and have it very organized, and I'm going to check in a year from now. Hopefully we'll still be doing the podcast, and we will, kind of take stock on myself, because I do want to hold myself accountable while I'm, of course, throughout the year adding, changing, and checking off all of these goals I've set. And I'm not even done yet. I'm going to keep doing it right through the new year, because things evolve. More details are going to get written. I kind of go, personal goals, and then this, and then A, then one, and it just keeps going. So all of that can be, dialed in to where you're so specific in each little micro goal. If it's like, hey, I'm going to make my bed every morning, or I'm going to make sure the dog get walked at least for 30 minutes a day, right? Do that. I'm telling you, it jumps in. I forgot it was some motivational guy, military kind of guy, and I love those people. But they I think it was like, make your bed in the morning. Well, why does it matter? No one's looking. It starts off a series of tasks for the day. It chain reactions, and that's why, it really, if you can do that, it just keeps that momentum going. Even I look at Sunday right now, I knew I was going to wake up and do a podcast. I was going to go hiking. I slept in a little bit, so I'm going to get something else done, and then we're going to still go on a hike. So you still get it in. Don't start getting in your head either, like, oh, I didn't go on the hike, I'm a piece of shit. No, you don't do that either, right? That's like someone who's trying to lose weight and you gain 5 pounds. So what? If you keep doing it for 6 months, you're going to even out and lose the weight. Keep going, right? So it's hard. Your mind fucks with you. That's why I talk about this, because this is probably my mind fucks with me more than some, because I have a strong mind that can work in either direction. You just gotta rein in the beast, right? Fight it, and let everyone around you just kind of like, they got to deal with it. It's like, hey, yeah, we're going on a hike today. You don't want to come, fine. You stay back. I'm going. Yes, we're going to do this. We're going to go explore. Just go explore a new place, even if it's not physical or growth mentally, or just go do something. Go see something new. Put it in your little memory bank of experiences. That's all life is a series of experiences, right? Okay, let's see. I think, there's some other things. Maybe I'll copy and post the list or something like that. But yeah, keep motivated. It shouldn't be January 1st you're thinking this way. It should be every day you're thinking this way. June 2nd, May 10th, September 29th. It doesn't matter. You're thinking this way, and when you don't, you chalk it off as, no big deal. I'll get back on the horse tomorrow and do it again. 1 day a week. 2 weeks of, even if you're on a diet, like I'm trying to eat better, I have shit days. My daughter brought me some awesome chocolate covered macadamia nuts. You think I'm not eating that box within a couple days? Of course I am. So I'll just cut back a little bit the next few days, or I'll run a little harder when that's all it is. Just as long as you don't go off the deep end and now your trajectory is negative, you're fine. Because you can go like this, a little dip, and then you back up that way. Good to go. Dog training is no different. It's the only reason why I talk about this. It's all connected. Push your dog. Get your dog to get out of their comfort zone. It's only going to promote growth. And we're talking about letting them cope with life on life's terms. Okay, so that's where I want to segue. Did a good segue today, guys. So we're going to talk about the Q&A I had, because 4th of July, I guess there's some firework events that happen. And I saw yet another one of these posts that you've seen me go off on during the 4th of July, is that it's all about safe spacing. Again, it's on my phone, but it was basically saying, this is going to happen, and they show a picture of a dog looking sad, of course, to invoke emotion, which that's how they sell you on this. And it's, give them a safe space, which is fine if it's last resort. There's a couple of things, and it was like medicate. And I'm like, but you didn't mention training or addressing the issue or teaching your dog how to desensitize to loud noises or these type of things, or handling it in a skillful way instead of teaching your dog to just be scared of things that, although it is scary to some dogs, have a hard time processing their sensory, the sensory experience around them. They can still learn to cope with it if you kind of take your emotions out and kind of build them up. My dogs last 4th of July, we came back from Europe that afternoon, and it was just getting dusk when we got home. We were so exhausted and jet lagged. All three of us, we just passed out on the couch while, I live here. It's like fireworks are going on all around the back. They don't care. We were all sleeping because we all learn, it's just sound. Easier for some dogs, but I know my dogs, it's attributed to the work I've done. My Rottweiler would have been popping off if I didn't address his ability to tolerate what's going on around him stimuli-wise or socially early in life. Or even when I saw something a little later on, I nipped it in the bud. Too many people safe space the shit out of their dogs, their children, and they create this inability to cope with life on life's terms. So the question I had gotten was, how do I deal with it? They sent me this little picture I saw, and I was like, okay, so that's what leads me to this. And it's not because I'm callous. Not that I don't, God, it sucks that a dog thinks that something like that is going to kill them. But I'm thinking about, how are they going to deal with it the next time? They still know it's there, even if you put them in the basement or medicate them. It's just a little less it's more buffered, but you're still going to have to cope with something. If it's not that, it's a loud truck or a motorcycle or whatever it is. Why not build your dog up? It's just like a dog, we're human. We can be built up too. We're a lot tougher than we think. And it's not in an non-understanding, non-compassionate way, but it's also in a non-coddling, non-safe spacing way either. We do this with our kids, and I'm gonna put it out there, okay? So this is a perfect example in the human realm of what we're doing. If you can't see the tie between how we're using it towards our dogs too, where a lot of these people, under the guise of compassion and care, are damaging the ability for those around us, our kids, our animals, or whatever, to cope with life on life's terms, and we're making them emotionally weak and unstable. It doesn't mean you should be callous and sociopathic where you don't feel. That's not it either. It's the ability to put in perspective, take your ego down a notch, and not receive everything as if it's about you. So the example I'd like to give before I leave off, because this I think creates a very good point, and I like to give these experiences that I have because I think it's the best example instead of trying to articulate, because I'm not a Jordan Peterson. I can't psychologically break down this phenomena so skillfully that it's like, well, you can't deny what he's saying. So I'm just gonna give you my experiences and my take on it and how I see it and how I think, again, it relates to the dog thing. So as many of you know, I'm very into archery, as I always talk about, and I've been introducing my daughter and my young nephew into shooting. I even got him a compound bow for kids, and he's a really sweet kid. He's a very funny kid, but he's been being raised in part in a way that's not really addressing his oversensitivity to every little slight or change or thing that doesn't go his way. And I'll give credit, it's getting better, and my brother's getting better at addressing this, right? But you can see he's very uncomfortable with. So we had a moment yesterday where I went off and shot by myself, and then I came back a little bit later, and I saw, it seemed very chaotic. Like my daughter, I drilled into her, you follow rules because you don't want to get shot with an arrow or shoot someone else. So I'm telling you once, and that's all that is going to be told, because this is a non-negotiable subject. And I said it as such. She knows how I parent, and she learns and she applies it. Now I see my nephew, who things have been a little more lax. She has a very ultra, I'm going to say the word, damn it, and I'm not conservative, right? I have to qualify with that, an ultra liberal grandma. I'm libertarian, so I kind of left lean, but I ain't that off the deep end where I'm expecting more from my fellow humans, including our children. And just safe space to this kid, coddles every fucking emotion and allows every little thing to be validated instead of like, hey, put in perspective, it's not about all you all the time. So we can create a non-monstrous version of an adult as we get older. I saw this, but I'm the bad guy for pointing it out. So this kid is throwing, the new arrows are being thrown around. He's going behind the line no matter how many times we tell him. He's not clearing before he goes and gets his arrows and retrieves them, because you have to make sure the lane's clear when other people are shooting. And I come by and see this guy who was kind of over, but he was not thrilled. I could see him look. I'm like, what's going on here, guys? And I'm looking at him, I'm like, Mike, to my brother, I'm like, why are you letting this happen? And he's like, look, I'm like, you cannot be passive, A, to your child in general when he's not acting appropriate in public because you're afraid to correct him. But it's also like, this is a safety issue right now. So I spoke like, hey, to my nephew, I said his name. So you listen to me right now. You do not, and I said it in this, and I said A, B, and C is what you do not do. This is what you do, and that's it. Do you hear me? As I am saying it right now to the camera, okay? And a few seconds passes and he just blah, melts down. He's yelling at me. I'm like, to my ego, if your child thinks that this is yelling where someone is telling him very clearly a one and done way, this is how you're going to stay alive or you will not do this again, that's yelling, we've got a real problem with how we're raising our child. And this is pinpointed the moment that these kids get triggered. Everyone is so emotionally weak that they can't even hear criticism. And it's not even criticism. It's saying, hey, you didn't hear the first time. I'm going to say it again very clearly because this is a non-negotiable issue for your safety and everyone else. Stop making it about you and good fun times and being blind to what's focus. Focus. It's what we expect in our dogs. It's what we want out of our children. And this is exactly the problem that we're having now, is that we're so uncomfortable. Where he was like, yeah, I'm like, I hope I'm not stepping out of bounds. He's like, no, deal with it. You feel that. I'm like, you should be dealing with this. You should be chipping away at this shit every day. Okay? And it's not about punishing. Just look at those. They're not putting choke chains on the dog and hitting them. This is the bonkers. This shit. This is the rolled up newspaper of 2018. That's bullshit too. I'll speak out against that as well. Okay? But we're also going to address it. Hey, we expect more from you. Do this, not that. Don't do this, do that. I know better. That I know better than a child. You know better than your dog. Stop empowering the ones who cannot handle being empowered for the position they're in life around you. Take control of the situation. Stop feeling bad and trying so hard to be liked by everyone. And get the job done for both your dogs and your children. Okay, and that's going to make you the best person of yourself. So let's bring this full circle here before we go too out on a rant and back out into Pluto, into the universe here. Okay, I hope with that example, I'm willing to share my life, and I'm going to take some heat for this, right, to help you with yours. Okay, so if you're a parent watching this, you're like, I kind of do the same thing, and my kid is sort of unable to not have things go their way. There you go. Or your dog, no different. Okay, it's a little different with you can't speak to dogs. They don't understand language, so you have to teach and show and direct, correct, reward the balance of it all. Balanced dog training. It's why there's a word. Okay, those are the techniques I tend to kind of use primarily, while there's other elements of the human-dog relationship and techniques that I apply as well. But balanced dog training, that's the key. Okay? All right. Oof. I hope this made sense. Usually I have Jordan kind of steering me along when I get to, but we're going to bring it in again, tying this up with a nice bow here. 2019, get out there with your dog, get out there for yourself, get your goals going now. Don't peter out, make them reasonable, but then set your big. I also remember, that's the one thing, I did set some goals that were probably unattainable, but we're going to go for them anyway. So get out there too. Look, I'm shooting for another season of a show, right? That's a big goal. That's a big maybe. I have no control of that. I just keep appearing and they keep asking me to come back. But that I'm going to shoot for. I'm going to give 100% of what I can to make that. Where you can wake up every day and take your dog on a 20-minute walk. There's nothing prohibiting that. Okay, so that's what I want. So let's get a little bit tougher with ourselves, tougher with our fellow humans and those around us, because they're going to benefit too. It's not about feeling good all the time. I talk about this often. It's about getting the job done. All right, so guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been episode 30 of the Dog Savant Podcast. Don't forget to share this. Get out there, rate, review, subscribe on iTunes and all those other good places. Get out there with your dog. You see me making those videos. I'll keep doing those. And stay tuned. Hopefully we'll have a second season of the Untrainables, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I appreciate everyone who's listening. Happy New Year, guys.